Hello and welcome to Lopack, the Mighty Station Calculator version 3.1 tutorial on creating a baseline. The baseline is needed only if you're going to be converting station and range to XYZ or vice versa. This takes the place of a survey file. It's a little bit more advanced because a survey file can only do one azimuth. So this way here you can just load in your baseline, be done with it. You don't have to keep switching survey files as you would on your dredge positioning or in the previous Great Lakes in-house program to convert to station and range. The baseline algorithm does account for points of inflection properly, and if you have points outside the limits of the baseline, it will calculate that too, as long as you permit it to when prompted. So first thing you're going to do is come to this baseline button up here with the setup icon. Click it, and there's three different methods you can use to load in your baseline. The first being load an LNW, the second Dxf, or you can use this wizard here to set up your baseline from scratch. So we'll do the first by loading in LNW. You must select a line file that only has one line in it, which is your baseline. It can't have any cross sections in it. We'll use one from the Philadelphia Naval Basin project. It will then prompt you to enter in the start station, which for this happens to be -1, station 1 or 100. If you type it in as plus, 1 plus 00, it'll just remind you that you can't use the plus sign. Typically, it's many baselines start at station 0, so that you would enter in 0 there. So now you're completely set up if you do this method. Next, I'll show you how to load in by Dxf. I will open up a drawing now. Okay, so now I have the drawing open. You can see here this is a master drawing of the project, Philadelphia Naval Base project, and this magenta line is the baseline here. You'll see here that it does start at station 0. The other line file that I loaded in started at -1 because you can see here we have some parts of the project extend past 0. So we're going to select the entirety of the baseline and copy it. Copy with base point 0, 0, 0. There is another command to export it directly to a Dxf, but I don't know that off the top of my head. So now we're going to paste it into a new drawing, 0, 0, Z enter, E enter, and here's your baseline. One thing you must make sure in this program whenever entering in a Dxf, whether it's for the baseline or any other function, that you want to make sure it is a polyline. The way you could check is if you open up your properties and you can see up here it says polyline. If it wasn't a polyline, I'll explode it real quick. You'll see it just says line, and the program will not recognize any lines. In order to fix that, if you have lines, is the pedit command, or you can simply type in PE into your command window. Then select M for multiple if you have multiple lines you would like to convert, and then enter. And then it will ask you if you want to convert to a polyline. You click Y for yes, and it's been converted. Now if you have multiple lines that are touching that you want to connect together, you can simply hit in J, and then it'll ask for the fuzz distance, and if they're touching, that would just be 0. So just hit enter again, and then enter one more time, and now it has connected all three of the lines into one polyline and converted it. So now we can save this baseline drawing, and we would like to save it as a Dxf, an AutoCAD R12/LT2 Dxf. It's the last one on the list there. And we'll type in Philly baseline and save it. Now we can come over to the program here and open up the baseline. And now we know it starts at station 0, so we type in 0, and here is the baseline, and it's completely set up. Now for some reason it's not set up correctly here. It depends where you draw your baseline. If you started at the right end here, and it really, when you started drawing it, if you or somebody drew starting at this end, then it might come in swapped here, because it starts wherever you started drawing it. So if that happens, and you would just hit swap here, and it will swap the direction of your baseline. You can click as many times as you need to go back and forth. Now if you wanted to export this baseline that's loaded in to an LNW, you would just select this button here. Or if you wanted to, if whatever baseline you had loaded in here, if you wanted to export it to a Dxf, you would select here. If you have any further questions, you can click this help menu and it will instruct you on everything there is to know about loading in a baseline. Thank you for watching, and there will be more tutorials on the rest of this program. Thank you.